Hello. Yeah.
Testing. Okay, man.
All right. Call the meeting to order. 3:03. Meeting for the tourism authority. Jeff, would you like to?
Dan, you got your switch on?
Okay, there we go.
I'll wait on him.
We call a roll after we do the, okay.
That's what it shows there, yeah.
Okay.
You call the roll.
That's for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just, he can just remain standing, Charles.
Well, let us pray real quick. We'll bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this meeting and this group of people. We ask you to be with each of us in decision making that we do your will, and your will is in the midst of these decisions. Be with each of us this day and this next month. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
If you'd stand, Debbie's going to lead us. Flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. About time. You just didn't want to say the prayer, did you? Casey, let me call roll or? Let me call roll.
Yeah, call roll.
Trustee Anthony here. Trustee Calhoun.
Here.
Trustee Cross. Trustee Shattuck.
Here.
Trustee Thorpe. Vice Chairman Reed.
Yes.
Chairman Shear.
Here. All right. Is there any discussion on the minutes of previous meetings?
I noticed a typo. I didn't mark it, but there is a typo.
Do you remember who it was, Charlie?
Yeah, it's over in number 11. I don't think we're to 20,211 yet. I hope we're not.
Oh,
I missed something.
we had
somewhere.
one, yes, sir.
Oh,
After that, very good. You do read those, don't you?
Yep.
Any others?
Based on the change that Charlie brought up, I move that we accept the minutes from last meeting.
I'll second it. Oh, go ahead, Charlie.
Have a roll call.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun.
Yes.
Trustee Reed.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, it's like getting used to. Trustee Shattuck.
Yes.
Chairman Shear.
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe.
Yes.
Okay. Financial reports. They're on page 6.
6 through, the main pages are 6, and then the page I handed out to the committee, that's separate, and then page 12. Page 12 shows our tax income, $39,808. That was the best we've had since 2000. September of 2020, 1920, so 19, I guess. So that was excellent. Really good number for us. If you look at that handout that Jennifer handed me, that I handed all of you, this gives you our budget for the year, and then also what we've already spent in July and August thus far. So you can kind of tell what we have remaining is what we have left to spend this year up until June 30th of 22, based off the approved budget. We've spent a little bit of money there, but looks like some things haven't. We don't have anything going on those yet. Charlie, if you want to know how much we have in the bank right now,
You're anticipating.
I knew you were going with it. I still couldn't give you a straight answer because I'm still trying to figure it out. But I think it's, if we go look at page 6, Jennifer, right? Okay, so is it the bottom number or the second to bottom number? Minus our budget. How does that, but then add back the 39,000 for July. So how do we, I know we're 2 months behind, so how do we?
If I remember correctly, it's the second.
The second from the bottom, the 587,
And then add in July.
and then add in July. Okay, so that would be the 587, 735 plus the 39,000 from July. Charlie, so
So that's saying we spent nearly 300,000
yes,
plus whatever the income.
that's correct. Yes. Because that 876 would have been from the beginning of last year, so that is correct. That's my understanding of it. It makes a banker nervous when you're having to estimate things. So, yeah.
I like this sheet you did.
I did like this new sheet, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, Jennifer, I like this sheet you did.
Yeah, she did that. It's good. It's very good.
I might just, I don't know how we're gonna get it, but this is the money that we had March the 31st. So, what is it the 1st of August,
Well, it would be.
which would be what we'd be looking at?
It would, well, we don't, that's the thing, you don't quite know, because because we're months behind,
Well, we know what income we got in July,
and in June, and in May, and in April.
and we know what expenditures we had.
We-
So we should know, we should have a number. I mean, I go down to the bank and I ask them, what I got in the bank?
So do
Well,
I.
since this all goes together, isn't that why it's more complicated? It's like we don't have our own bank account for it, so you can't just,
Yeah, but we
I know
still
you know
are,
that better than
we're
me.
still responsible for it.
yeah.
So,
And I don't think any of us know what we got in the bank
well,
right now.
I think,
And
y'all
this-
can correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, but if you go back to that number from March 31st, the 587, and we add in, this is how a banker, I would do it. We add in April, May, June, July, and then we subtract out any expenses we had during that time. Is that a correct statement or no?
It's still estimated is the way she explained.
I was about to, it is still estimated, because the way they do this number for us is at the beginning of a fiscal year, when we set our budget, what the amount of revenue we have, they'll subtract out that entire fiscal
Correct.
year budget. And then it pluses and minuses kind of how much we actually spend on each thing throughout the year.
And another thing too, just like if you look on the sheet that Jennifer gave us,
Yep.
it shows that we are looking at the PO. Take for instance, the PO for the, where did I just see that? I'm sorry. Oh, for the Overdrive Entertainment. She has a PO and it's for $100,000. but we've only dispersed 50,000 of that at this point.
Correct.
So the whole 100,000 is encumbered, which the city, if I'm understanding this, Jeff, the way that Ann was explaining it to us, actually that encumbered amount is what has already been taken out. So it's not really showing us the physical amount that we have.
Yes,
Okay.
because 50 of it was last year's budget.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand.
Well, does it include what we've encumbered?
That's
In other words, when we're getting ready to make a decision as to how much we're gonna spend, and we're gonna vote on it, do we know what we got?
Good question.
I mean, we did set up, the kind of like cash fund for the next fiscal year on that, but it's not, I mean, most of our funds, we have earmarked for specific things such as grants or the event boards, et cetera. But we did set up a specific kind of additional fund for next fiscal year. But that will show starting on the July 1 financial report. Because this is still June 30th, because we look 2 months in arrears.
So is that the fund reserve you have on this separate sheet?
But we're looking at the bank account.
Yes.
We're looking at the
That makes
bank
more sense.
account for July the 31st.
For March the 31st.
Yeah, March, yeah.
Well,
Looking at what?
I don't know how we're gonna know what we got to spend without just making a guesstimate at it.
Right.
well, April was about 30,000. May was 38,000 and June was 39,000. If we add those three up, take out our expenses since then, but the encumbered's already taken away, right?
Right.
That'd be the closest way I would think.
Right.
To figure it out.
Yeah, that would be my
That's
thought,
what you
but
said, but
Is there some way we can just look at a number and, like I do when I write a check?
I was told there wasn't.
But we've got control over,
We do have control, I think, to a point because of the authority and the way it's set up, but we don't control the accounting of it. We just turn in our expenses and are told what our tax income was. Essentially is what I'm getting out of it, but.
Jeff, if you would like, I think I've got a simplified version that we can take what Ann has given us, and then we know the amount of the POs that are going to be
That's correct.
there.
And that's,
So if we could do that and then add on, if I can just make sure that this 500,000
yes,
amount is there,
yeah.
then I really think that we could come up with the exact number that we have in our account as
Or a very close number.
or a very close number. That's right.
That's what I would prefer, because there's too much gray area in this for me, let alone you, Charlie. So I understand exactly what you're saying. But I do think if we can get a good number, starting number from some point in time, whether that's on this particular document, March the 31st, and we add in our income and we subtract out our expenses, that should give us a good number where we're at. That's my view on this.
That should, I mean, yeah, I mean, just
And
pretty much
there-
basic accounting.
there's not that many expenditures and stuff. I think that's something we can do quite easily.
Yes.
Now, if we decide, even next month, we can bring this up again. We got a letter probably a couple of years ago from the council for the city. And anytime we decide to vote on it, we can go get our CPA and have our own accountant, and it will be current then. So if we decide to do that in the next couple of months, we do not have to use the city treasurer. It's already set. They've already told us that we can do that.
Okay. You're talking about hiring somebody to do it?
We can hire a CPA to do our accounting, yes, we can. We've already been told that through a letter about 2 years ago, right?
And I think our attorney has a copy of that,
Okay,
that he's reviewed.
okay. Very
Jim
good.
probably ought to have a copy of it.
Yes. Well, it's in the minutes, it's posted, but we could get that to you.
Okay.
And so if we want to next month, we can discuss that and see
Okay.
if we want to go that
If
way.
you wanna look at that, that's my copy of it.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Don't think so.
Okay.
I just think we need to have our head on top of the water when we spend money.
Make decisions. Sure. Totally agree.
I'd just comment on, looks like according to this report, the revenues are the highest they've been for this time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was an excellent month. Last couple of months on there were good.
All right. Not anything to vote on here, Will. Just a sec. All right, I'd like to move some stuff. We've got, first I'd like to introduce our new legal counsel, Jason Pedazra. Pedazra?
Pedraza.
Yeah.
Hi, Jason.
Did you want to come up and make a little statement? Sure.
Speech.
There's not much to say, I think. Y'all considered me. I was probably, I think, the only applicant, but decided to go ahead and take the one guy that threw his hat in the ring. So
You don't have
I
a
have an
song?
office. What's that?
Don't have a song or
I don't have a
dance
song
or-
prepared, and you wouldn't want me to sing it if I did. So I was in choir one year, and they didn't let me sing.
She said she had given you a copy of that letter. What was your opinion of that letter?
Yeah, I mean, what Jim said is exactly right. They basically told us that they weren't gonna do it anymore, and then an accommodation was reached where they decided to go ahead and keep doing it.
Yeah.
But we can decide at any time that we want our own. But
So you want to tell us your background and where you're from?
oh, I'm from here. I was born and raised in Durant. The old intermediate school is where I was born. Yeah, graduated high school in 2000, went away for college and law school, and came back almost 2 years ago now, and opened a practice. I've known Micah. She's my best friend's mom. I've known her since I was a little kid, and she convinced me that I should come open my own practice here, and I did, and it's been absolutely amazing. Should have done sooner.
We're glad to have you.
Thanks.
Yes, thank you.
And are you already, no, Line Green Stewart?
On the way.
I'm Ryan, new Parks Director.
A Parks Director.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, yeah.
I was asked to come here today.
You didn't really want to?
I didn't know it. I didn't know it was today. But yes, I'm the new Parks Director, and starting next week, we'll have an event coordinator. Right now, I'm actually just trying to reorganize and restructure the Parks Department so we can start making improvements in all the parks. We are already in talks, start and get more tournaments out at the sports complex. It's gonna be a process because in Durant, all the rec leagues are the ones that really do the tournaments, and it's just convincing those rec leagues to help host the events here in Durant at the sports complex. And that's just contacting the leagues and placing bids to hopefully win and have them in this area. The biggest issue that I've come across with is, since we are so close to the Texas border, Oklahoma leagues can't have anyone that is on Texas, their address on their roster, and same thing other way. So it's either we have a tournament that we find the teams ourselves, or we have to make sure that the rosters only include Oklahoma or only include Texas.
Why is that? What?
No idea. Everyone likes to be difficult. Like OK Kids is the biggest baseball in this side, this area. So their bylaws state that they can only have Oklahoma residents playing in their tournament.
See, I'm hearing from even Ardmore, some of my grandkids are coming up to Ardmore and playing, and so how are they doing that? And they're from Texas, they're from Keller, Texas.
My granddaughter plays both
There's
states.
private leagues, private teams can have people from all across or all over the state and other states play on the same teams. But with that being private, that's It's not a recreation league setting up a
Yeah,
tournament.
you're talking
That
about
is
a true travel,
travel, that's a traveling.
softball, baseball, soccer,
And that's just finding those organizations and getting on the
those
books
people
there,
to
right?
go ahead and put a tournament on.
Yeah, so that's where we're coming in, is I'm trying to find, going up through the web, trying to find, okay, who do I actually need to contact to get our name on the books to host a tournament? And half the time they don't answer, and I gotta move up to a different list, and we go from there. But we are trying. I have a rec guy starting next week that will be his job, trying to track down these tournaments, having people set up tournaments and utilize all of our fields more.
And I can give the names of some of them, I'll have to check with them and see, but all of these tournaments are held through an organization. It's a softball or whatever organization, so that's where all your contacts will come from, and
Yep.
that's where all your teams will come from. I guess you already know that, don't you?
Yes.
Because there's 2 or 3 organizations out there for the 10Us and the 12Us and the 14Us.
Yeah, each age group seems like there's their own organization
Mhm.
and it's just finding the right people and because you might get one organization that works real well and that's real organized, and the one that's brand new that's all gung-ho about doing it, but they've never ran a tournament, they never done, so it's branching out and everyone learning together. And I got a couple contacts in Stillwater to help me out with getting more teams down there or from up there, and then Tulsa we have some contacts. We got to get everyone on the same page.
So it won't do you any good to have a Texas contact?
It would. It'd be more difficult to have. It would have to be definitely one of the private private leagues play, because getting someone in the Dallas area, and the guy that I hired is from the Dallas area, and did his internship organizing soccer tournaments. So we're going to try to branch out with soccer first and use the OK Kids contacts for baseball and softball. But with soccer, reach out there, and since we're right in the middle of Dallas, Oklahoma City, and Tulsa, try to have everyone merge in. And I've talked to the Texoma Soccer Association. This semester, there's no way we can do it, but we're already in talks of maybe in the spring doing a total 4-day tournament. 2 days are in Denison, and we have our Durant teams playing there, and then 2 days will be here. And just work it out that way. That way we get all the teams playing, because they're a recreation. They're not a traveling team or traveling league.
Yeah, I didn't get to talk to you too much the other night at the get-together. But we understand that when you have these tournaments, we can literally, if you happen to, take care of the field and upgrade it for that tournament, and all your umpires, probably taking care of your concession stand, and whatever it takes for you to. Where I go, you have to pay $10 a car to get in that place.
Yeah.
On those tournaments, and you can have somebody out there. But anything that has, and he'll be able to verify it, anything that has to do with that tournament, we can fund you.
Okay.
This group can fund you. If it costs $10,000 or $20,000 a tournament, we can fund you as long as it has to do with the tournament. Now, we can't keep your field up during the week. But anytime it has to do with that, it won't cost you zero to get that tournament up going. You can come back to us, we can vote for it, and we can take care of it. I believe our attorney will go along with that, right? And so I'm just telling you that'll give you a big kick. And the other thing is like we talked to you the other day, this thing's losing us over $650,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, and Danny stated it too, there's some people think it's just for Durant, but there's no sense in wasting $650,000. The kids from Durant can use it from Monday all the way to Thursday. But if we can put about 10 or 12, 15 tournaments during the weeks, even start in April, and they'll go up into October. Boy, you can cut it down pretty good. And it's amazing what you can do with the streets and all your other things here. Can you imagine 10 years of that?
Yeah.
Man, if they wouldn't be happy then, there's nothing that'd make them happy.
It's again just starting slow. You got it, because if you pile on too fast at the very beginning, you're gonna burn out whoever's gonna be the rec coordinator and staff. You gotta start slow and work your way up to having a tournament, where the goal is to have a tournament every week. And of various amount of sports that we have at the complex, and possibly do baseball and softball at the same time, since we have separate areas. But planning now for, essentially you want to look at least a season ahead.
Yes.
And this season is shot. You have
It
to
is.
just react off of what I was given and go what those rec leagues. I'm trying to meet with the rec leagues now to have them, because right now they're not even utilizing that sports complex for practices, because it's difficult to sign and paying per use and all that. So I'm trying to meet with them to work out an agreement that covers everyone.
And if we have a tournament, I talked to James Dalton, especially in the last 3 or 4 months. When you have a tournament, you don't just have that field over there. You got Plata Park and other fields around here that you can put in for that tournament, so you don't have to go to Atoka or Denison, anywhere. You've got enough fields that'll
Yes.
take care of a tournament like that.
Yes, but the thing you gotta look at right now, the smaller, not the smaller, but some of the other fields are not as in shape, because we have a couple guys looking out over all the other parks, and then I have 5 guys focused on the sports complex. So just working out, getting those fields back to playable shape, where we can, if we have someone wanting to rent a field that next day, it's already ready to go. So it's, again, maintaining hasn't been everyone's strong suit in the past, so I gotta get us back to that level to really utilize all the fields.
And from what I understand, even on your staff, if it has to do with that tournament, I think we can probably take care of that too, as long as everything, is tied into the tournament. So, that will help you too, I think, so.
Yeah.
Another thing is one more thing. I talked to James Dry a couple times when he was up here. He has even traveled up to Amarillo for his kids and grandkids. He even made a statement to me that he thought, if we get this thing going, it might take us a season, but he thinks the Choctaws could help us turn a couple of those things into the AstroTurf field,
Yes.
especially the infield.
Yeah.
If they can do that and they see that we're doing good, they might do 4 or 5 in the
Yeah.
next 5 years. And then if you get that going, then from then on, you won't have to ever cancel out a tournament, because if the rain comes, it just comes right off, and so you never have to cancel. So,
You just have to
we
work
can go
on
back
it.
and talk to James Dry on this too.
Yeah.
Have y'all sat down and made a list of what needs to be considered if you're gonna, say I came in and I wanted to host a tournament? Have you got something you can hand me and it tells me I need to do this, and this is gonna be taken care of by this, and this?
There is an application online that says that if you're wanting to rent the field for any of the fields in the city, there's the deposit for if you're wanting to use lights, or if you're wanting an all-day deal. There's a daily fee per field, and I believe on the website it states what we'll cover, and which is roughly just making sure that the lines are painted and anything that's essential to play the game. Tournaments, we don't provide officials. We don't provide the logistics of what they're going to find. So
Can you give me a couple of sheets of paper that'll tell me what I gotta do? And
I can, I'll have to email them to you. I don't have them on hand, but I know they're on the website. I've seen them. I'll just have to find them.
well, just as long as they go to our,
Yep.
the Chamber of Commerce has contracted to oversee that kind of stuff for the trust.
Yeah.
You can get it to them, or they can get it to us.
Yeah. I'm working on readjusting our field usage fees, but we're everything's available online on the city website. We can-
Cause I'd like to be, if I was gonna do it, I'd like to be able to sit down and figure out what my budget's gonna have to be and where am I gonna get it. And
Yeah,
And currently, for your regular leagues, your OK Kids, your soccer leagues that are Durant
Yep.
leagues, they all have their own organizations, like you said. They all handle their own umpires and referees and such, correct? So you really, at this point, you just take care of
Yep.
the fields more than anything else?
We just maintain and we make sure that the fields are painted, ready to go for
Yeah.
their games on whatever day.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, if we rent it out to an organization, it looks like to me that concession stand should be negotiated. We should be able to even get the benefits off the,
We
run
do,
the
they
concession
do,
stand.
yeah.
do what?
So we run the concession stand.
Yeah.
So whenever next weekend, there's soccer's starting up next weekend, along with, there's an all-day adult softball tournament. We'll open up both those concession stands, we'll pay for the workers, and we'll provide the stuff. They just sell it and we deposit it by the end of the day. So that's, everything that comes to the concession is us. What we need to work on is getting enough, more staff to, like you said, run gate. Because that, if you pay $5 or whatever a head to get in, that's everywhere in the state, they run a gate fee. We get the
Yeah, we
ball
need
rolling
that.
on that, but again, that's something I can't establish this year or this season. It'll be next season or the next year kind of deal.
Yeah, because I know down in Flower Mound in Denison, Texas, they have a gate fee to where, it's $10 a car or something like that, or $5 a person. So, and we pick that up too, right? Now, on this soccer tournament that you're having, is that for just a Durant area, or does that cover all of Oklahoma City or Oklahoma?
Are you talking about Saturdays or are you talking about?
Yes.
Saturday is just the recreation league here in town. It's Texoma Soccer Association.
Okay.
So we might have some teams come in from Texas playing our Durant teams, but I know right now all of our older kids, they play only in Denison, and that's just because right now there's not, from what I'm told, there's not enough kids to have their one team Durant, so they play on Denison, and so they all play in Denison. I'm working with the Texoma Soccer Association to get it over here, but again, it just depends on how many people sign up through the Soccer Association here in town.
So once you start having soccer tournaments in here and it's for the state of Oklahoma, we can help you on that too.
Yeah.
Anything that you have that's going to.
Soccer is a little bit more lenient on, different states cooperating.
Yep.
Baseball, that they like to stick with just whatever state they're in. Soccer, they're like, let's have everyone play. So we should have more use into getting Texas teams and surrounding states.
And what's amazing, as the size of town we are, and we haven't had this going in the last 5 years. I was driving up to Atoka. I usually don't do this on a Saturday afternoon, but I'll go up there and eat at Adobe every once in a while just to get out of town. And I walk in there, and the owner's son's in there, and I said, "How you doing?" Because he knows us pretty well. We go up there at least once a month. He said, "Boy," he said, "we're busy today." I said, "What's going on?" He said, we got a girls' team, and I don't know if it's a 10U's or the 12U's, but he said it is busy this weekend. This is Atoka, Oklahoma, making money on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, right now we're either previous directors or they were depending on the recreation leagues coming up on their own idea to come up to do a tournament, to host a tournament, and us field them versus the other way around. So we're still trying to encourage them, but we help plan it and we help get it here.
Well, this right here comes in right where we are in tourism, because if you get people coming in from here in Oklahoma City and Dallas and all of this, what you're doing, you're putting heads in beds, you're getting the restaurants, and they're coming down to Main Street. You can't get more tourism than that.
Yep.
I would like to say that I met with Ryan earlier today. Thank you for coming over. He has some great ideas outside of just the sports area for the parks, and we really look forward to working with you. Thank you, Ryan.
I've got a question. I know there's not as much interest in the track. Is there any possibility for,
So,
I know the track's not regulated, wasn't built to
that's the thing
regulation.
I know of. The track is not regulation size, and I've heard it both ways now, that it's too long, and I've heard it's too short. I don't know what it is. I don't
thought it
know how
wasn't wide enough.
I don't know what I need to do to make it regulation.
My understanding was it's 1 lane 2, not wide enough.
Okay, so we're gonna add another thing of random things. I personally don't know what I need to do to make it regulation, or how to go about having tournaments or track meets here.
There's probably not near as much demand for track as there.
No, I think I've had one group of people ask to reserve the track, and they're like, we just need it for 2 hours. I'm like, field's open. I'm not charging you to come out and run when you're just needing to practice. And
We thank you for coming, and we also know that you're not a miracle worker and you can't do it all this first year. We know this first year is gonna be pretty good, and the next year will be better, and the next year will be better. But you're having to get your feet wet, and,
Oh, yeah.
and, well, I mean, that's a big responsibility, but I know
Tough
you'll
job.
give it a good shot and you'll do a good job. So thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Ryan.
Okay. Brings us to number 3, response to request for proposal for website development.
So I was asked to show up again and answer any questions, so here I am. So last month, we brought in a proposal for the website, and I guess we're still talking about it. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Do what now?
Do you have any questions for me in regards to this?
What do you have that you didn't have last month?
So right now, I mean, we're still building it out. I don't have anything to present, and today's been kind of hectic. But I mean, we're about a month out. I told you 2 months top, so we're about probably a little bit less than a month out now, maybe 3.5 weeks or so. And that is on the website that we did send a proposal in for. So really, I mean, we're still building it, but it's all about whether or not you guys want to actually use it for the city of.
And so in about a
Discovery
month or
Grant.
2, you'll have it up to where you can show us what you've been doing?
Yeah, finished product. I say finished product. Obviously, anything is editable to the point where if you decide you guys want a video on a certain page or an excerpt about something else, then we can absolutely edit that and get that done for you.
I think if you put in a quality website, I think that would be more than anything else we can do, because
Yeah.
I've got kids that's 50 or 52 years and below, and I don't care if they go eat, stay in beds, or anything about a town. They click on the website to see what's there for them to stop for.
Yeah.
And so your website, and like I've said before, and Debbie can say the same thing, probably 10 or 15 years ago, we got most of our reservations off of call centers.
Mhm.
We had one out in Phoenix and
Yeah.
Salem, and we got it off of that. And now I'm telling you, what is it, around 90% that comes off the websites, right? Even the OTA or our own websites.
Yeah.
And that's powerful, and that's what's gonna happen here too, and it'll bring a lot of more people in, even if we have videos and things, if we do it right.
Yep.
The main thing is just doing it right.
And absolutely. And so one part of that, I will say, I want to talk about this because I did watch the rest of the video after I left the last time. You guys talked about some other marketing options. We are a full service marketing company. So we can do everything from SEO to Google Ads, as you know, since we're running your Google Ads right now for Discover Durant. So, I mean, we can run SEO, we can do anything you need to make sure that this website is seen by people that are visiting Durant and anything else. Absolutely.
And so when they bring up anything for Durant, we can have it to where they're gonna click on this too, right? And then on top of that, on Google, if we pay them so much a month, it keeps us on the first page, right?
That is correct, yeah.
Because that's what my son does down in South Lake.
Yeah.
But it's amazing because people will not go to 5 and 6 page. They just don't do it.
They don't go to the
People are
second
like
page.
this now. So if it doesn't come up on the first 2 pages,
Yeah.
they just kick it off.
That's where they say you hide dead bodies is on the second page of Google.
Once again, the website design and development is 4,800,
4,800.
and then website hosting for a year is 576,
Yes,
and that would be a reoccurring annually.
that's
correct?
recurring. Yeah.
That part would
Okay.
be correct. The 576.
Sorry?
The 576 would be reoccurring, correct?
Yep, every year, yeah. And
My-
that's just the web, we do a certain level of on-page search engine optimization to make sure that it ranks once we build the site. But in order to make sure that the website will rank organically, like not using Google Ads, for instance, we'll actually have to do ongoing search engine optimization every month in order to make that, essentially show up closer to the top. You'll probably do better by running Google Ads, but I mean, it's just a matter of what you want to spend, what's in your budget.
So we can start off with this, and you're in the marketing, and you can show us what we can add to it to get more bang for our bucks, right?
So something that, yes, absolutely. Something that we typically do with a local business, when we come in, we try to evaluate their business, and we do what's called a strategy first, which we just essentially do a full online presence audit of their entire business. We figure out who their ideal customer is. We figure out the exact customer journey that everybody is going to be taking in order to essentially do business with them. And that usually costs, it can cost between $4,000 to $6,000. And if you guys are wanting to know exactly what you need to do in order to market properly, in order to get people into Durant, I would recommend that. Something that is tangible that we can give you, that essentially gives you a whole platform, a whole foundation for your marketing. And then we can move forward from there.
You bet. We can have a pay-for-play too, can't we?
Yeah,
What
yeah.
I'm talking about, there's nothing going to stop us if we get this website.
Mm-hmm.
If any business wants to be on this website and they want to pay us
Yeah.
to be on that website, they can give us money for being on that website where they come up on it, whether it's a motel, restaurant, or a
Yeah.
bank. We can literally make money off of that, right?
Yeah, I don't know the legalities of that for the city, for you guys and everything, but absolutely we can make that happen. We can run ads for certain restaurants or anybody, hotels, whatever they want to do, no problem.
How long will it take us to get the website up and running if we were to decide to move with you?
Yeah, it'd be the end of next month. Yeah, it'd be ready to go the end of next month. And again, any updates or edits, whoever we need to talk to throughout this process, we'll talk to and make sure that it's exactly what you guys want. And it won't be finished until it's exactly
Okay,
what everybody wants.
We're on the 31st day of August. You said the end of next month. Are we talking September?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Is that all?
Our meeting is the last Tuesday in September. It'd be nice to,
Yeah, we can hit that.
That'd be awesome.
Okay.
Let's go.
We thank you for being here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Clyde.
We have any motions to vote to approve?
Approve, are we still looking at both of them?
Still,
We have two that had turned in, that had made,
okay, yeah.
What page are it on, Jennifer?
The first one, the pricing is on page 22. This is the one, not this one, the other one.
So yes, we had two, Marketing Alliance and Marketing Text. So Marketing Alliance, their proposal started on page 14, and Marketing Text starts on page 28.
Have we had any personal contact with Marketing Alliance, or is it just them?
Marketing Alliance did the DIA website. Jeff, do you have any comments on that?
Not really. personally, I kind of like the local.
I agree.
I'm leaning that way for sure on my end. I
Well,
like-
I'm just gonna have to add my 2 cents, and I definitely, if we can do it local, that's where my preference goes. You know, these are tax dollars that we collect. And I know that, I feel that Clay will be here to, in other words, I know where you live, Clay. But I really would like for us to stay local if at all possible.
I totally agree. I mean, we're here for our community, so we should support the people in the community.
Janet, are you from New York City? You say you know where he lives.
Uh-huh.
No. I'll make a motion that we accept the proposal from Marketing Tex.
I'll second it.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. What do you call the roll?
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Trustee Shadid?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe? I guess.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay. Next item is grant applications, Durant Regional Airport.
We had a grant submitted this month by the Durant Regional Airport. They start on page 33. They're requesting $10,000 for an event that they want to have on October 30th. It's a candy drop. So it's they have a World War II candy bomb that would be coming to town and doing just that. It's a candy drop. They'll fly over the airport. Spectators will be able to come out with their
that's
kids
cool.
and it'll fly over and do a candy drop. So they're estimating about 5,000. This will be their first 5,000 spectators. This will be their first one, so it is that. They intend to use the grant money to pay for the fuel to get them here and to get the plane across, because if you can imagine, fuel is expensive.
They're gonna make a candy drop
Yes,
on the,
at the airport.
At the airport.
If you look at
where are they gonna drop it?
there's a sketch in there, Jim, that
Yep.
shows you if you look. It's included in the proposal.
Where are they gonna drop it?
There's a
Shows
sketch
you
in
on the
there.
sketch.
Really?
There's a
Yes.
sketch in there.
There's a sketch.
If you'll look
At
on
the
page-
airport. They're gonna, yeah,
I'm looking at
they're
it.
gonna drop it at the
I'm
airport.
looking at you while you're here. What about liability on this? What happens if it hits somebody in the head or something?
Oh, now.
They'll mark it off.
Huh? I'm just talking about liabilities, if it hits somebody in the head or whatever. Candy drop, especially if you have bags.
Well, sure.
They'll have that.
I'd like to make a suggestion, since this is the first time they've held one anywhere around here, that instead of 10,000, that we do like 2,000 or 2,500 to help them get started
I
and
think
see
if you
what
look
happens.
if you look at the different costs in there, I think it's the fuel cost that is going to ramp it up. I don't know anything about those costs, but I do know that fuel is very expensive.
Well, there are others involved in giving money to it, and I just feel like that we don't know anything about it yet. We will, and if they do what they say they're gonna do, 5,000 people is a lot of people, but I know some of the air shows they've had out there didn't draw that many.
Well, the Command Retrieve Air Force is a pretty big draw. I don't know how many planes they're gonna bring, or if it depends on how much money we got to give them to buy
Right.
fuel, but, you know.
So I guess some of the people that are flying the planes will be staying overnight, getting ready for the next day.
Yes.
So they'll be in,
Is it more than a one-day?
No. No. It is a one-day event.
I believe that the liability issue is covered by the city since it's on city property.
So what we say is Danny agreed, and so that's her responsibility, right?
Well,
I don't expect anything to happen, but you just look at things like that. So how much you say they're wanting?
10,000.
They're requesting 10,000.
Charlie, did you make a motion? What was your, suggestion?
I will make a motion that since this is the first year, that we fund this grant at $2,500.
I really don't. You know, I've had a plane for about 30 years out there, just got through selling it. And to get these guys in, those things don't get, especially those World War II things, probably don't get maybe 3 gallons of, flying that thing, and you're talking about $5 a gallon real fast. And if they stay here most of the day in the helicopters, $2,500 ain't gonna get it. It's gotta be at least $5.
Well, we're not the only one that's donating money to it.
Well, let's look at the budget and see.
Yep.
where is the budget?
Keep turning.
Well, that's cool. They're gonna have food vendors too.
Hmm?
They're gonna have food vendors out there.
Yep.
I mean,
Good for
I'm
the
not sure how, I think it's a good deal. I like aviation, I like air shows and all that.
So on page 37, on question 5, they kind of answer their level and that there are other people that are participating in the event, but they're doing more, kind of like they are asking for this grant specifically for fuel. Some of the other people are just doing specific things, like Studeville will be doing candy specifically and doing that.
And specifically, they are asking for the fuel cost, is that correct?
Yes.
And I guess for the advertising too? Are they gonna advertise it on television?
Yeah,
or
it
whatever?
says there'll be a media
Yes,
exposure.
they'll do media
Yeah.
exposure as well.
But that's not part of our cost, so somebody else must be covering the media.
Sure, but more people come in if you advertise.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess Charles made a motion for 2,500. We can either go with that or go with more, so. Do you have a second on 2,500 or?
Now, is the money the only thing they can spend this money on is fuel, is that right?
That is the authority, that is,
Or-
that is the
think-
authority's
Or is
call.
this going into their general budget and they can spend it however they want to?
I think
That
that
is-
on the POs that we have to do, Danny, and I'm not 100%, but I think that it would be going into their budget. But if we're concerned about costs, then let's ask for actual invoices with the cost, because I too agree with Jim. I don't want to only fund something halfway that's not gonna make it successful.
Right.
And with this, we just ask in return for them to provide invoices so that we can see. We can approve a certain amount, but if we actually have the receipts, then we will know next year if in fact this is something they bring to us, that either they didn't meet the expectations or that they did. In order to create an event, I know firsthand, it costs money. And especially if it's a first time event. Now, this may not impact us directly as far as the lodging tax, people staying in our hotels, but what it will do is to let people see what we have to offer, that the airport is there for other use. Can we expose it? More than likely, we're going to have media coverage that will come out and cover it. Our airport is one of the best kept secrets that we have. So I really think if we could help to fund them, it might be a mistake, Charlie, but at least we're going to know we will have accountability from the invoices, it's expensive to start a new event.
Don't you think they're gonna fill up before they leave home?
Well, I'm sure they will, but the distance that they're traveling, I'm sure that they're going to have to fill up before they go back as
I don't know,
well.
I don't know where they're coming from.
Well, nor do I, but apparently,
Probably all over.
But if
I
if
would-
they're here all day, they're gonna have to fill up again. And it gets back to what you said. We wanna do this with any grant we have. This is contingent on, they need to give us an item, just like the rodeos and all that. And if it doesn't show up that good this year, we don't have to fund it next year. But every one of these needs to be, when we have a grant, they need to, it's contingent on, you know, what their expenses are. They need to give us a report.
Well, part of it too, our aviation at Southeastern, you know, that's our biggest draw.
Huge.
And I have families I've had probably 3 sons that were starting school that they weren't in our apartment, aviation. Then their parents come see aviation. So, I mean, I think the hotel does get business off, you know, Southeastern in general, which aviation specifically, I've had a lot.
And I think it's probably more of a promotional event for Durant is how we need to
Yeah,
look at
which
this money
that's
being
what we're
spent.
here for.
I think
I don't
it's,
know how many of these spectators are gonna stay overnight or
Right.
even, especially if they have food there's come to Durant. It'd be something, you can't judge that, but this is pretty good advertising for Durant and Durant's airport for, future and everything else. So I think it's probably money better spent than some of the other advertising we've done.
Yeah, I agree
Well,
with that.
the main things, if they get notoriety for this, and they can get it on K10 and KXII to where people know this is coming up. It'd be nice if they could get it in Oklahoma City or part of Dallas,
Well, they should,
and have it advertising to where if it gets on there, people will come up and see this.
So the Confederate Air Force, people travel pretty good distance to see.
well, and
see
you're
this
looking at
place.
someone who takes ownership in the product, and that's the people that work at the airport. I really think that we're going to see people flying in for this event as well, because it's unique, it's something we haven't had before. And guys, I'm telling you, from a parade standpoint, when a parent will let a 2-year-old child walk in front of a semi for a 1-cent piece of candy, they'll bring them out there to be
sure.
there. And I agree with Danny, it's promotional. And I think it's a good thing for our city, I really do.
I think they ought to put $100 in every bag of candy.
And every
Well,
bag
then I will be out there.
I'm
for
going
now.
for sure.
Maybe the tribe will put some free play.
I tell you what, when they first started that,
Those kids can't use that.
the Choctaws
Well,
had a
those
drop.
kids got
Get the parents to drive
That's
them there.
true, that's true.
The Choctaws, when they first had the casino, had a drop out at Lake Texoma, and I think they had money in it. And they only had it for 1 year because these crazy boaters, I was out there, these crazy boaters was going for it. I mean, you get 2 boats going at the same time, you have some big time accidents. And they had it 1 year, but this is not the same. So. But I think it's a good deal.
We just need to ask them for invoices to cover the up to 10,000. Is that what we're saying? If we go that high?
If we go-
I'd give them something going next year, but I mean,
Just
again,
do-
I think it's just, we just gotta look at.
You were
it's a
saying the Confederate Air Force?
Confederate Air Force.
This is-
Commemorative.
Says
No,
commemorative.
this
The
is
Confederate Airport
this
has a, they have a drop, they have a
Commemorative
pulling.
Air Force,
I'm wrong,
yes.
okay, I stand corrected, I'm not sure about the Confederate Air Force, I know the Confederate Air Force is a big deal.
People like those old planes.
They do.
So, I mean, it gets attention for Durant.
Well, and I don't know if everyone's aware of it, but Oklahoma Commerce, the big push right now is aeronautics. The college just signed an agreement with Rose State. They are partnering with them. And I know that the airport is getting a lot of attention drawn to it through the Oklahoma Aeronautics. So I would say that this is gonna be a pretty large event. If it's not, well, then let's back up and say we shouldn't have done that. But if we don't encourage people to create new events, then we're going right back to another thing that we've got to discuss, and that you've only got 4 or 5 entities that create events in the city. My goal is, anytime somebody creates an event that is large enough, that we're going to be able to advertise it and promote it, not only throughout the state, but in the North Texas area. And I know that a lot of focus is being put in on the aviation program out there, and I really believe it would be worth the 10,000 that they are asking for.
Well, the advertising and promoting just costs money. It's not gonna be $1,000, it's gonna be more than that, just for advertising, if you do it right. And if you don't do it right, it's gonna bomb.
That's right.
I think,
I'm thinking the same thing as Janet on this. I think, I've been out there that long, I've seen Choctaws bring, the people in, and I mean, they come from everywhere. I think it's a one-time shot. We want them to have enough money to advertise and do it right. And then they've got a contingent on all the, they gotta itemize what they used it for. And then if it doesn't come in and help Durant, this year, we know not to do it next year.
Well, and
I've been impressed with John at the airport, and he works real hard at it, and I don't know how much events he's put on and all that, but I have confidence in him giving it his best shot.
I think from when I talked to him, and I just got through selling my airplane, but I think I talked to him, and from last year to this year, they extended that runway about 500 foot, and they can get some bigger jets in now. And I think from 1 year, their fuel sales is up, I think, $80,000. You can probably check that out, but I think that's what he told me. $80,000 is a lot in 1 year to come up.
It shows up in the city budget, and it's up by, I believe, by $84,000.
So I'm like Danny on that. I think he's a good man. He tried his best, and, you know, I'm just not sure that you need to give him enough to try.
That margin of 84,000 that has increased in the sale of fuel.
So we didn't get a second on 25, and so somebody else is gonna make a motion now?
I'll make a motion to support this grant with the itemized statements after the event.
Contingent on them
Yeah.
giving us.
Give us an itemized statement.
But go ahead and fund it for the $10,000
Yes.
amount. Okay, I'm not sure, but I think there's a motion on the floor, which Charlie has already,
Well, it died because.
Yes, it died.
okay,
because of
wanted to
lack
make
of
sure.
So there,
Okay, I'll second the motion.
all right, call the roll.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes, we'll try it this time.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes,
Chairman Shear?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, number 5 is consider approval of removing grant cap for specific entities for fiscal year 2021, 2022.
I pled my case last time.
Well, I still, you know, I looked at this, and, you know, this started back when Dennis Garrett was here. And, you know, it could get out of hand, and some of them would want to come 2 or 3 times and dip in the bucket, you know, one organization. You could wind up with $30,000 and $40,000 just in one organization, so we had it to where if one organization comes in, they got a limit of $10,000, and they can't come back in July and December and want it again. I'm still having a problem with it. I think once you get it up to 1 year for 30,000, if something else comes in and it's tragic and it's twice as worse on the pandemic, then we're liable to bring it up and say, hey, let's do 1 year for $40,000. You know, if you look at the budget, we only have so much. And, you know, you have the chamber running it now, and later on, if we get a director and it's on up higher, man, I'm telling you, you know, $30,000 and $40,000 at a time can do your budget in real fast. I think, you know, like Dennis Garrett said beforehand, I think we ought to just leave it at 10,000.
Well, like Janet said though, there's only so many entities that put on events that we can support, and then we'll ask for grants. So if you say, I think, in my opinion, it should be on a case-by-case basis, not the entity and how much money they've gotten.
Jim,
What if somebody comes up-
I'm definitely for supporting the Parks and Recreation, like you said.
Oh, yes.
But what if they come in and they ask for 40?
Yeah.
You just said to bring it to us. Now, if we're gonna cap one, we've got to cap
And you
all.
said anytime he had a tournament, we'd back him. So what if they're already over their 40,000 for the year and they got 12 more tournaments to go?
You really just need to cap it at 10 from now on.
Well, you
It's
do
bigger.
understand that if anybody brings us a proposal, we're going to have to stand on that.
Yes, we will.
Yeah, so do you,
So if we get.
so we can't tell the sports and rec guy that we're gonna support you and then he gets up to $40,000, say, well, we didn't tell you, we can only go up to
We're
40.
good for $10,000 a year to the sports and rec guy.
That's not gonna help him.
That's it. No, even if he brings tournament every weekend.
They're not gonna bring it.
If he brings tournament every weekend, he'll be self-supporting. But,
But we did say we could help him.
All I'm saying is if we're going to do it across, we need to do it across the board. And we can't have somebody walking in here and asking us for $25,000 and then we say, that's a good cause, we're gonna do it just because. We've got to cap everybody at that. And if that's what the group decides to do, I'm 100%
I
behind
think
it.
Dennis
Or if we're
Garrett-
gonna do it for the baseball deal, then what we have to do is leave it at 10,000 at a time and then let them come back for.
No, that's not what, that's
that's
what
not-
Dennis Garrett mixed. And I know why he did it, because we had a very aggressive, very good Durant Main Street, Stephanie. And she was trying to have all these events because she was trying to promote it. We got on TV, we got on the show, blah, blah, blah. And so I think that's why he came up with this, because it was kind of like, she's come up with another event in 2 weeks, you know, it was a lot of events, but she was trying to promote Durant. But now we don't really have them coming to us every other month wanting another grant.
The last time that we stretched out was that group that came in to tell us how to make the downtown go.
Yes, we
And
all
we
didn't
didn't
like
get
that.
much out of there.
No.
And that was a lot of money.
No, he told us pretty much what we already knew, but who has the money for it? I mean, that was the problem.
And we did spend close to half of what we had last year in the bank.
Well, and I think we learn as we go. But that's what I'm saying.
Well,
If we are doing it,
I
then we've
think
got to
we
make
learn.
it across the board.
I think we are learning, and I think our discussion that we went through a couple of years ago has as much validity today as it did then, maybe more. We were making more money back then.
Not now.
And the other thing,
Over,
the other thing we
places.
got coming up in, you know, in the near future is that the chamber is taking care of our money right now. If we decide to get a director later on and a person and rent our building,
City.
then how much is that gonna cost us? Is it gonna cost us another $50,000-$70,000? Now, that's gonna be per year, and we got maybe that coming up too, depending on what we wanna do.
How about I simplify this and just say we table it right now? The cap is $10,000. And if we want to revisit it later on, and I'm not saying that I won't bring it up again, but at this time, let's just leave it and go on for the
Maybe
sake
we can
of.
bring it up again if we see something, we're like,
Right.
oh, we messed up. Maybe
I
we need to
agree.
reconsider
I agree.
this. Okay, that sounds.
That brings, there's something about if we table it, we have to bring it back up at the next meeting, or there's a process of doing it.
We
don't
can-
You
take
take no action?
We don't
Take
have
no
to
action.
table it.
Is it where you take no action
No
or you
action.
table it?
We don't have to table it.
So
No
if we
action.
take no action, yeah, that's what Mark told me, just take no action, and that way you can or cannot.
Cool.
Okay?
Okay,
No action then.
all right. Do we have to vote on taking no action, or
No.
is this okay?
I remember that.
Okay, all right,
We've done this quite a few times.
okay.
You have
Number 6,
It's been a long week already.
approval for-
I'm delirious.
2022 Group Travel Trade Program.
It is
Anything.
on page
55.
54 of the packet.
Thank you for numbering these.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for making these, period.
You're welcome. So this is, the state of Oklahoma goes to shows where they are able to meet with buses that do group travel.
What page?
54. And so the advertising in this would be $800 for this year, and that would include us a sixth of a page ad in the publications that they give to all of these buses that do their group travels, as well as afterwards they will email any notes from the show. So that way, if they notice someone kind of acted super interested in Durant, we would have that person's contact information to be able to follow up with them. So,
And they always also send us a prospect list.
We've done this
Correct.
before.
Yes.
yes,
This deadline
is tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
is tomorrow.
Correct.
Now, is this gonna be on television on Discover Durant too, or Discover Oklahoma?
No, this is with the group travel program. This is when they go and meet with the buses that do tours.
Have we done this before?
Yes.
We did, and we approved it, but it was kind of right at the beginning of COVID.
COVID, and so
So,
there's no
I mean, we only
measures.
got a few, we only ended up getting to get a few back. That's why they made this year's a little more budget friendly for all of the towns, since everybody's kind of getting back.
So we
into
didn't get much off it the
traveling.
last time.
Correct,
Because of COVID.
because of
So,
COVID.
but we didn't, and so they're gonna give it to it for half price this year, just to be nice?
I'm not even
So-
sure we paid for that last year because
I would
of
honestly have to
COVID.
go back and look
Yeah,
before I could
I
answer.
don't believe we did because COVID hit before they invoiced us for it. I don't think we had it.
But to make sure there's not confusion, the $800 is the discounted rate. Last year, I can't remember the exact dollar amount, but it was more than $800. So I just want to make sure there's no confusion on that.
No, but they're just not traveling. I've got another one scheduled for November. Let's see what
What does this mean, the program does not include the American Bus Association?
That
what's
is
the
its
importance?
own, the American Bus Association is its own association, show and beast all on its own. But they will send us information about advertising
Where is
for
it
that
held?
one specifically.
Where's it held?
I can answer that.
Usually Chicago.
I don't know, but if you wanna see the Oklahoma, or the Bus Association, you just go up to Branson in about October and November, you'll see them all up there. The American Bus Association.
I make a motion that we do participate in this and that we utilize those contacts as far as sending things out. We do have collateral materials that we did not have during the COVID, and we're doing that seasonally. I really feel like we have the materials that we can get to them and hopefully get some responses. If you remember, we had 2 tours booked already before COVID hit last year. And we have not been able, well, buses are not traveling like they were yet. But I do think that this is a good program, especially for that amount. And that we can have contacts at least.
This is for $800.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion been seconded.
Okay.
Vote.
Trustee Anthony? Yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes. Okay, that brings up, Oklahoma Destination Dining Guide on page 55.
Yes. So this is for Discover Oklahoma. This is, we have advertised in their fishing guide, in their outdoor guide, in their overall
Outdoor
travel
guide.
guide. So this is their destination dining guide, which is very similar to those. It's places to eat all across Oklahoma. We are requesting a full page ad at $5,000, and what that would allow us to do is highlight 10 of our local restaurants in Durant. And just kind of be able to give a little blurb about each of them. That's what we're requesting.
What's the total amount of guides they put out every year?
That's a
I
great
believe
question.
it's-
I'd have to go look.
I believe the distribution is 250,000.
No, they're asking like how many guides total, like the hunting guide, the,
Oh, how many different guides do they
Yes.
put out? I thought he was asking for the
Yeah,
distribution.
I wanted them to know the total
Oh, I'm
amount they
sorry.
put out. And they put this at the, border when people are
Yes.
coming in, every place.
yes.
Any other place they put those?
They, like, in their welcome ads, they distribute them whenever they go to travel shows and, do that. And, I mean, very
They're all
similar,
digital
we
as well.
have. Do
They're
it.
all digital as well.
They're all, yes. And very similar, I mean, they'll have we have people call the chamber at least once a day asking for like a visitor's guide and visitor's information. So, I mean, if we're getting it, we know the state is getting it, and so we know they send it out there.
So how much money?
How would you select the 10 restaurants? Are you-
Just a suggestion on this, to get buy-in, I would like to see the authority do 2,500. That's gonna leave 250 that the restaurants have to buy in for. And that way, we don't have to select, it's the first 10 that want to be part of it.
Did you say it was digitally also?
Yes,
Would that be something we could put on our website if we're,
actually, we can put a link to any of these on our website, Charlie. The travelok.com is what would lead them into it. But we could list those separately. I'm not saying that we could have it ourselves, but we could put the link there to where they could go into that.
we couldn't say if you go to this link, you could get a destination dining guide for Durant?
Yes. Yeah, that's what we would have to do, but we could put the link there, the oktravel.com. It's where it would
I
be,
think
and the
we need-
dining guide,
I
the
think we
fishing
need to
guide.
use that website to get the different entities in Durant.
I think that's a great idea.
And I think probably, I know you said 2,500, then do the other, but just say we'll do 3,000, and that leaves everybody else owing, or 10 of them would owe, $200.
I think that's great, and and that way, we don't have to select the restaurants that we're putting there. We'll give them an option to buy into it. We'll say, this is the cost, we'll send it out, we have all of those restaurants already listed. If you would like to buy in, please get back to us on this date. And what it is, if you will go into that website and look, it would be featuring those 10 individual restaurants that are in the community, or in Durant.
Can we key into whatever restaurant they wanna go to and go to whatever else that restaurant might have put on there? I mean, there may be a restaurant that wants to have their own 1-minute video or something that,
Well, they could do that, but this is an advertising piece. You're talking about going back to the digital form.
yeah.
And
And our
the
website.
magazine itself is digital. That would be on there. You're asking something that I do not know the answer to.
Charlie, I
that,
think they could
Charlie.
do that through our website, is where
Yeah.
you would do that, I think. Wouldn't,
Yeah,
Well,
because he said we could.
they're gonna be in our website when they go to that. That's what I'm just.
yeah.
And
Do
they
the-
can
good
also,
idea.
and
That's a
restaurants
good-
can also submit what they like on the actual Travel OK website, to where they are able to submit their videos and different stuff like that as well.
So does board members that have a restaurant, do they get it for half price?
Well, I would put it this way, I think we have to, because we're saying we're gonna do 5,000, so we have to say we're gonna make a motion to do 5,000, and then try to recoup part of that back from 10
Yeah.
restaurants. Is that how we
Yes.
would need to say that? Because we don't know how many are gonna wanna do it anyways.
Did you want to make a
Well, for
motion?
how much?
Did you want to make a motion on that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we accept we do the full page for 5,000, and then, I guess leave it, I guess on you, Jennifer, to try to figure out how
I'll
we're
make a
gonna
second.
get part of that back from the
Yes.
10 restaurants.
Would you want it to be at 200 per restaurant or 250
Or
per
100
restaurant?
or whatever, I mean,
This is y'all's I can tell the restaurants whatever you guys decide. It would be up to you how much you want to try to recoup from them.
What would be good, 100 or 200, what do you want?
I love Jeff's thing because keep in mind, we're going to probably have this very same opportunity with hotels and the lodging guide. Now, they don't specifically put out a lodging guide, but keep that in mind. So whatever standard we set, we probably need to hold to that as well.
So-
And I love Jeff's idea. If
I
we
do
could do
too,
the
and it
3,000,
keeps it us from
right,
deciding.
and it
And
would
so on
be
your
200.
motion-
200 then.
200?
200,
What do
okay.
you think's fair? I mean, you own a restaurant. What?
We think $50 for us.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you have one too, what am I thinking? Let's love sandwiches and sandwiches.
200, if you can, 200.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we do the full page ad for 5,000 and then we try to recoup back
And I'll second.
Yeah.
Okay.
At $200.
at 200 apiece, yes.
200 per restaurant.
Okay, trustee, oh. Are we good?
I think we're good.
Motion, have you seconded the motion?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes,
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes.
Okay. Only on number 8 now.
Jen, did you hand out that line item? Okay, I don't have one.
Fall concert series, all right.
Number 8.
Okay, we,
Pretty sure I got everybody.
I-
No, he was late.
what are you handing out? I don't guess
Yeah, that's it.
is this it?
That right there, yeah.
I'm gonna kind of spin this because I am so excited about this. We have gotten the day that they let this, which was on Monday, our phone was bombarded all day long, wanting to know how much the tickets were.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
good.
do they have reserved seating, those type things. The response has been absolutely tremendous. From Overdrive Entertainment, within, I believe he said the first 30 minutes, they had over 853 hits. He said it was the first time that they had ever had that many
That's
hits
awesome.
when they released. So it's been, the response has been absolutely phenomenal.
Where was it advertised through?
Overdrive Entertainment on their web, and then, of course, we shared it on all of the websites that we have as well.
And Facebook is just blown up with
Yeah.
everybody sharing it too.
I got a desk clerk out there, and, you send it on a text or a message, and to my manager, and she looked at it, and the desk clerk looked at it. She was amazed. She knows every one of these groups, and she said, these are quality groups, and she'll be going to every one of them. Apparently, people know these, and they have a group that will come in with them to see them. So, I mean,
They
it's
have
not sitting out there.
followings.
that kind of brings back, is there a venue gonna be large enough?
We are meeting Thursday, right, Jen? We have a meeting on Thursday? Next Tuesday. We've got so many meetings, I can't remember. But we've included everyone, the city, everyone from the city, the police force, of course, Overdrive Entertainment, anyone that might have something to do with it, so that we can sit down and we can actually look at those things. We've already started talking security-wise, what we're going to do. When we turned in the request, we requested that the street be blocked off on Evergreen 1st and 2nd, so that that whole corridor could be used. The green room is actually going to be in the fire department, and they're very excited about getting to participate too. So it's, the energy that it created has just been phenomenal.
We probably can't close First Street, can we, because it's highway?
We can't close First Street, no. But what we can do, Danny, is to put guards, the barricades all the way down the sidewalk on the outside perimeter. That way, we're only gonna have 3 entrances in. There will not be any, we will not allow any ice chest or any large containers into the event. We are giving those people that are inside of that parameter, they can do, in other words, if they want to have a beer garden, they have to go through able to get their own permit. We don't, we can't give them permission to do that. Not only that, if they bring it outside, they're going to have to fence that area off, and they're responsible for those people that are inside of that fenced-in area. They cannot let them leave with alcoholic beverages. So we feel like we've got that under control. But in visiting with the city police, with Chief Hauser, they are understaffed right now by 9 people. When he suggested a security firm, but he also suggested doing off-duty officers. That's why when I sat down and we had the response that we had to it, the one thing we want to make sure is that it's crowd control and that this is going to be put on, we're going to do it right. We don't want to look back and say, oh, we shouldn't have done or whatever. So in looking at that, and looking at the advertising with that, there are things that the cleanup services, we've got to have somebody that will maintenance that. Now, if there are nonprofit groups that want to do that, I'm all for letting them have that, doing it. But the cleanup, porta potties, there's an electrical plug that needs to be added, and then just ancillary things that maybe have slipped through the cracks. Keeping in mind that the concert series will already have started by next month when we meet. So with that being said, I'm asking for an additional $15,000 just to cover the things that we have listed on that. Do I think we will spend that much? No, I don't. But also, the $2,000 that I requested for the tourism summit, and you guys voted, we're not gonna have to utilize those funds as well, so.
Oh, so that gives us a little extra.
So that does free up some additional funding there. I'm not sure about the advertising. We're working on these different things. And once we meet with Overdrive Entertainment, they do a portion of the advertising too. So that could be cut. But I wanna make sure that I'm not cutting back in places that we're gonna need to make sure that this event is thoroughly covered. And
I would be like Danny. I think, if they're that good and we do it next year and you have better quality names, you might have to take it down to Southeastern football field or something like that.
Remember, we offered this to Southeastern and they refused it. So with that
Who gets a
being,
commission off of these things?
huh?
Who's getting the commission?
The booking agency, which is Overdrive Entertainment.
Now, the other thing,
That's
the other,
not on there, is it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I see it. Okay,
It's listed.
I got it.
the other thing is that downtown's always wanted, something that will move it up. I've already talked to Zim and he's just excited. My manager's got a store downtown and it would be good if somebody gets hold of them and tell them, you need to stay up until 7 o'clock. These people will come in at 6 o'clock and they'll be walking around. I talked to Sean the other day and told him, I said, it would be good. They usually close at 6 o'clock and at his coffee shop. I said, it'd be good to hold it open until 7 because these people cannot just park there. They're gonna be parking three blocks away. And they're gonna be coming by your shops. And if they get there an hour early, they're gonna be wanting to do something. If these downtown wants to do something, I'd have all of them down there on that street,
Well,
open an extra hour if they want to make some money.
Not only that, Jim, we're in the process of getting permission from all of the artist management to do a Facebook Live stream. And with that, any of the areas that have big screens, restaurants, anything, are going to be able to live stream it onto their big screen. So as soon as we get permission for that, then we are going to start working with those merchants. Main Street is working with those in that area. We're not letting food trucks in. We're right now not letting outside vendors in. We are strictly going to see what this does and how it impacts what we already have.
Yeah.
And with that being said, then hopefully, after we meet, and Danny, you should have an evite on that as well. And any of you guys are more than welcome to attend that meeting. But my top priority is security, making sure that we don't have incidents that is going to tarnish this or put a black eye on it.
If you have somebody drinking, you're always gonna have security there.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what are we asking for?
I'm asking for an additional 15,000. Will we use that? I'm not sure, but as I said, we will already be in the concert series when we start. So,
What's the total budgeted now?
115,000,
115,000.
because we've already voted on the artist amount, and the 8870, that's tough. They're gonna have to eat that, so.
All right, we have a motion.
I make a motion that we accept up to 15,000
I second.
for these expenditures.
All right, motion been made and seconded, call the roll.
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes.
I think in the future, I might make a suggestion that if we're organizing something of this size, we ought to have the miscellaneous cost figured in to begin with. So
Well, since we've never
agree.
done it before,
We've
though.
never done it. but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do agree with you, but yeah.
I think, I agree totally. It's one of those things, we had talked to security or the police force. I was not thinking in terms of having to pay security, but in order to
Yeah.
provide that,
I don't think anybody was thinking about
now,
that.
now, if we pay security, who's gonna be insuring any problem that may come up?
okay, I'm not, all right, but the city. Are you talking about if there's all of these will be off-duty officers, which are fully certified to make an arrest. But the way that he explained it to me is if there is an incident, they will call in city patrol immediately, and at that time and point.
What I'm talking about, everybody's looking for somebody to sue, and something happens, and they sue, who are they gonna sue? They gonna sue us, or are we
It's
gonna
on
be
city-
indemnified by somebody?
It's on city property. We can get, Charlie, I'm sorry. The the Overdrive Entertainment has a rider, and we're all listed underneath that rider as part of that insurance. It's
Is
included,
the trust itself listed?
yes. He was gonna get me a copy of that. I was
So we have an
looking-
insurance rider, right?
Yeah, I was
So-
seeing if he factored that in. But he told me they were covered and he would get me a copy of that, and it names the
I don't-
trust, it names the city of Durant,
I don't
because
see any
that market
expense on
property.
there.
Let me ask him about that specifically.
Is it 500,000 or a $1 million limit?
I think it's $1 million.
Is that good enough, sir?
Who,
$1 million?
who do we,
And what'd you say now?
I actually think he said it was 2, but I can't remember right now. And that's but he did say that they had the rider on it. And as soon as I get that, I will give it to him. I will give it to our attorney and let him look at it to make
And then
sure.
we ought to have a copy of it on file.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah, well, hold on, what'd you say now?
I think they have a hard time suing us for this.
Cause what, with the city?
Yeah, because there's too many defendants between us and.
Well,
Yeah.
and you've got to remember, Overdrive Entertainment is a booking agency. That's where part of their management fee comes in.
And we're getting this through this is getting through the city, this is city tax.
Well, but we don't know that the city's gonna indemnify us.
Overdrive Entertainment they listed all of us under the rider, is that correct?
That's what he said.
That and the city, it's on city property, and we're sanctioned, I mean, we have a permit from the city, so I'm assuming the city takes responsibility when they issue permits. They don't
Well-
say anything about the permit holder having to provide insurance.
You know how attorneys are, they sue everything inside. Then we gotta hire you to get us cut off of it, or?
The insurance company will provide the defense.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Absolutely, they won't let me not be, I would oversee the litigation. If something happened, the way it would play out is the insurance company would provide their own legal team, and I would just be a liaison to make sure that they weren't morons.
So you'll be able to look at this insurance policy, right?
Danny,
And they wouldn't be.
All
for the
right,
second time, would there be any way that we might be able to table number 9?
$15,000, we voted on that?
Yeah, we're supposed to.
Number 9,
Uh-huh.
we need
No,
to
we go backwards.
table it?
We already
Yeah,
voted.
I mean, it's,
Already voted.
No,
No, we're
this
talking
on
about
number
number
9, removing
Oh.
it, discuss approval of billboard rentals.
We've still got a lot to cover.
Okay, yeah, let's table that one.
Okay, we're tabling the billboard rentals?
Till
No
the
action.
next-
No-
till the
no
next
action.
meeting?
Yeah.
We're not doing anything on the billboards?
No, we just,
If we table, we need, I mean, I think one of these needs to be talked about before, you said the deadline, this west side deal.
so it was
Will we have a meeting
requested,
next month?
I mean, we can wait until next month to do the West Side Drive. It was requested that we look to see what our contract was. We did a 2-year contract. We approved it on October 9th, 2019.
oh, so we have till October.
So we have, in the September meeting, we would definitely need to make a decision on it, but we can wait till the September
I move
meeting.
that we, just we table.
Table, so we can
take
bring it up next time.
And on the rest of the additional, but what about this billboard out here that's still got the rodeo on it in Magnolia?
They've recreated artwork for the fall concert series, and it will be up in the
And when
next
will
few
that be up?
days.
It's up.
It's up.
It's up.
It's up.
It's
haven't
up.
drove
Well, it wasn't
south.
up last week, was it?
Oh, it was up Monday, because I went by there.
Good.
It was up Monday.
Okay, gonna move.
Haven't been south.
Okay,
Okay, so no
Number
action
10.
or
When
table?
they
Table
get
is
him
what-
I think we have to vote
built,
to table, right?
Yeah.
No, just
Okay.
kidding.
all right, number 10, we
We're
need
still
to
looking.
pay, the chamber for the management fee, any discussion? Have a, I guess we have to have a vote on this? Let's
I
have a
don't know,
motion.
could we wait till next month? I'll make a
It can,
Okay.
but
I was about to say,
Jim's making a motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Trustee Anthony, Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
abstain.
Chairman Shear?
Yes. All right.
Okay.
All right, we want to consider executive session to discuss items on employment options. And I think a motion has to be made, let's vote to go into executive session. Okay,
Motion to go into executive session.
I'll second.
Got a vote? You have to have a
Oh.
vote on that?
Trustee Anthony, yes. Trustee Calhoun?
Yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe?
Yes.
Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
yes.
We're gonna move into the other room, or we're having everybody leave?
That's what
You get to stay.
Chairman would like.
He
You
wants
later.
to.
If y'all want, or need me, I stay.
above. Okay.
The marketing text already gave us their report.
Yeah, Chamber of Commerce report,
It's,
It's included on the last page.
okay.
For the sake of time, I'll say if you have any questions, just
Okay.
feel free to get to this.
Anybody from Choctaws here for Choctaw report? No?
They did email today, just, their update is that the Sky Tower has opened and the Cultural Center is also open, and they are going to be doing like classes, at specific times, and they'll get us that schedule, so
Oh,
we can be
that's
sure to include them on our website
Like
as
different
well.
kind of classes.
Yes, all having to do with,
Yeah.
Choctaw Heritage.
All right, I think we kind of had an update on the fall
yes,
concert series.
yes.
Okay, any new business?
Just one thing, and I know we're pressing for time. I'd like for us to, and probably we've waited too long, but I did discuss this with Ryan today, the ice rink, having an ice skating rink back,
Oh.
that we, as the authority, would lease. We can't purchase it, but we could lease it.
You mean for this winter time?
I don't know that we could this winter. It would take a lot to get it put together, but just something that I think that, again, we as an authority could look at doing and owning it.
You have any price on that?
Well, we have to put it on the agenda.
Yeah, well,
Or we can bring it up next.
well, and if, we may have to call a special meeting this month anyway to do, so if we need to do that, we will. I wanted to talk to him a little bit further about it, Ryan. He thought it was a great idea, but he also had some questions about it too, so.
Who did it the last time?
Main Street, and their sponsor, the major sponsor that actually paid for the rink itself was Cardinal Glass. And it was around $40,000 because I was on the board. It's gonna be more than that. That's been over 10 years ago since we had that rink, and it's gone up considerably. But I wanna make sure, right now what I'm looking at are references to see if they were pleased with what was offered, the services that they did. And you can do it several different ways. We could lease it, let volunteer organizations actually run it and take the profit from it, which would be another way that we're creating it, we're doing it,
Or-
they
or
could
the
benefit
losses.
from it. Huh?
Or
Or the losses, that's right. But the rental is going to be the initial cost. Capital revenues would be anything above that.
If Cardinal did it, I wonder if a number of, say, 5 or 6 of our industries would want to enter into doing it.
Do you want to go out there and get them to do it?
Well, I'll go with somebody. I'm not afraid of them.
To go with, I'm sorry.
What I'm getting at, Charlie, is when they do that, and I'm sure we could, and probably Cardinal would, but there again, we're putting a cap on all of the nonprofits anyone that's presenting at 10,000. If you get a company to do that at 40,000, that's 40,000 that you're taking out of their budget that they normally donate to nonprofits.
Well, I was thinking about more of, not just one, but several of them do it.
Well, there again,
Are we
even
gonna
if it's,
bring that up next
yeah,
meeting?
yeah.
Or next month? You got
Next-
any more on the report? No?
Okay.
So we need to bring that up next month, right? What about, Danny, what about Choctaw?
Choctaw?
She already said
Yeah.
that they're gonna have some meetings classes out at the Culture Center.
You told us that, but you didn't say
Hours
anything about
ago.
it. Who's coming up on the concert?
I have them marked on my calendar.
I was about to say, they're marked on my calendar, I don't have them memorized.
Oh, but there's anybody from Choctaw here. to
they're
give
not
us
here,
a
no,
report,
yeah.
you know.
Here, I'll pull it up for you.
With that being said, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second, all right, we got a motion to adjourn, seconded. You want to vote to adjourn?
Oh, who first and who second? I'm sorry.
Aye.
Janet, Charlie.
Janet first, Charlie second.
Yes,
Okay. Trustee Anthony? Yes. Trustee Calhoun?
yes.
Trustee Shattuck?
Yes.
Trustee Thorpe? Vice Chairman Reed?
Yes.
Chairman Shear?
Yes.
Okay,